Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
As we told you at the beginning of the show, Mel Tucker is proud of the way his team was able to work through the adversity they were up against following the altercation in the tunnel at Michigan Stadium. MSU was able to tune out the outside noise during their preparation for Illinois, but just exactly how were they able to do it? Tucker explains in part 2 of our chat.
It's important, after any game, but especially a game like that, to make sure that everyone in the organization understands why we were able to get the win. So we evaluate the game, we evaluate the week, and then we come in at the beginning of this week and say, hey, listen, this is why we were able to win the game. We eliminated distractions, we had intentional focus, we took everything one day at a time, doing the unrequired work, all those things that you need to be able to do in preparation to win a game. And so we did that all last week, and it wasn't just the players and the coaches, it was everyone involved, including the support staff. So I was proud of the intentional focus that we had, and I expect that to continue for the rest of the season.
It's also amazing, too, what happens when all 3 phases play as one.
I know, complimentary football, I say it every single week, but it was very evident on Saturday. You can't leave it up to just one side of the ball. We did a really good job in the kicking game, especially punt. We had a high level of ball security. We won that phase. Defensively, we were able to get a lot of stops, able to eliminate explosives for the most part. So we were able to hold them to a low number. And then offensively, we were efficient in the run game. We were able to possess the ball. The time of possession was fairly even, and we were able to score enough points to win the game. And that's an example of complimentary football, and we need to continue to do that for the rest of the season.
When you see Bryce Behringer have a punt that literally sails the extent of almost the entire field, what do you think when you see him do that, and especially knowing his background of him being a former walk-on to now the #1 punter in the country?
That's what I think, best punter in the country, when I see him do those things. And he does it in practice. Every day is very, very, very consistent. We have a high level of confidence with him. And punt is the most important play in football. It's average of 40 yards of field position, which is huge. When you talk about score probability and drive start analysis, punt is huge, and he's averaging like 50 yards a punt. When I see him do things like that, I'm glad that we have him. He's an advantage for us, but I think best punter in the country.
How windy was it Saturday?
It was significant. Even running onto the field, there was a little extra strain there just to not get blown over. It was 25 miles an hour constantly, and it was gusting up to 40, 45. The wind was a factor. Against the wind, with the wind, being able to throw the football, snapping, holding, all those things it was a huge factor in the game. We had to take that into account, every play.
As you look ahead for Rutgers, you mentioned that you're happy to get back home. Haven't played in the woodshed in a couple of weeks, so that will be nice to get back home for you guys. But what's the biggest challenge with Rutgers, knowing that kind of what they're up against this year and how their season has been?
Their record really does not indicate, what they're capable of doing. They have really good players in all 3 phases. They're very aggressive on defense, they're aggressive on special teams, and they have playmakers on offense. And they're very well coached. Greg Schiano is one of the best coaches in the country. We all know that. He's an excellent recruiter, so they have some really good players. And I expect them to be at their best.
This too is a game where the storyline, you can't kind of avoid it this week, is this fact that you guys both have your bowl eligibility hopes right in front of you. Rutgers really needs a win to remain, in the race for it. You guys need a win as well. How much do you emphasize that to your team this week, knowing that that's on the line for you guys, but also for them?
Yeah, we're emphasizing preparing to win. And not just focusing on the end result, but focusing on what it takes to be in a position to win a game like this.
Do you think you have played a full 60 minutes of football, the football that you want to see, and how close were you to doing that against Illinois?
We got a lot closer, but our best 60 is definitely still ahead of us. There's a lot of room for improvement, and that's what this week of preparation has all been about, is getting better in all 3 phases so we can play our best 60 minutes of football in the woodshed on Saturday.
Fun little fact about Rutgers is Tucker made his coaching debut against the Scarlet Knights in 2020, and he referred to it as a game he'd like to forget. If you remember, MSU turned the ball over a record 7 times, but he knows his team has grown a lot since then, and also the vibe is going to be completely different come Saturday because there were no fans hardly in the stands at all due to COVID. As always, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show. Have a happy and healthy weekend.